What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Foosgetcleantoo, where we show that change is possible. And for anyone struggling with addiction, getting incarcerated, or living that street life, that you can see that change is possible. So today I wanted to touch on two phrases that helped save my life. Nothing changes if nothing changes, and contrary action, right? Nothing changes if nothing changes means that if you want something different, you got to do different, right? And for me, I was just a creature of habit, right? Like I knew what I knew and I did what I did, right? So I was comfortable on the streets, hustling, using drugs, committing crime to get the drugs, going to prison. I knew how to survive in there, and it was fun till it wasn't. You know what I mean? And I know the choices that I made gave me the consequences that I had, right? But there was a higher power out there that was looking out for me through my whole life, my whole stay in prison, every time I hit the streets, every time I was using drugs, right? Even though I made bad choices in life, right? I always had an opportunity to make it better by making better choices, right? So I don't know about you, but I'm a creature of instant gratification, right? So once the anxiety sets in and I feel uncomfortable, right? I know what's going to fix it, right? It's either alcohol or dope or whatever your substances that relieves your anxiety, right? So I had to learn to do something different than to rely on those substances to numb that, right? Or to make me forget that or to ease that pain, right? And it wasn't easy, but by any means, I'm not saying it's easy, right? But if you want a better life, it's out there, you know. And contrary action means doing something different than what you're used to, right? So if you're used to going to the neighborhood or going to the bar or going to the dope spot or going to get your drugs, right? Do something different, right? Create a support group, find a church or something that's positive in your life, right? Instead of going to those old behaviors and those old ways, right? Because I don't know about you, but for me, I was comfortable in my surroundings, right? Because I grew up in chaos, right? Whether it's that street life or the hustling or being around prostitutes in the neighborhood, you know what I mean? And all that was comfortable to me, right? Because that's all I knew for a lot of years, right? But I knew that I wanted a better life for me, right? So I had to make some changes in my life, right? One was not to use drugs or alcohol, right? Because I always end up in handcuffs afterwards, right? I might be good one time or two times or three times, but eventually it ends up taking me to the same places, right? Which is behind bars, right? Or in a cell, you know? And honestly, that's the reason why I got clean, right? As I was tired of being in those spots away from my family, away from my loved ones. I lost pretty much all my grandparents during my incarceration, right? Aunt and uncle I was really close to that helped raise me, and a couple friends along the way, right? And I couldn't really mourn their deaths because of the spot I was in, right? And that facade we have to hold up while we're in there, you know. And I put myself in some pretty hairy positions when I was in prison, right? And those were due to the choices that I made, right? But I knew right from wrong, you know what I mean? And I knew if I did wrong that there could be some consequences at the end of those decisions, right? That wouldn't have been the best thing for me. So the decisions that I made, right, were because I was living a certain lifestyle that I chose to live, right? And I knew that if I didn't want to live that life for the rest of my life, that I would have to make some changes in my life, right? I'm talking about stop using drugs and surround myself with better people, right? And whoever is in the mix or likes going to prison, my hats off to you, man. Like, get it, you know what I mean? And I have nothing but respect and admiration for anyone out there doing their thing, right? But for myself, right, I knew that I wanted to be a better son, a better brother, a better uncle to my loved ones, you know what I mean? And it's hard to do that behind bars, you know what I mean? And there's lots of people that don't have the opportunity to hit the streets anymore, you know. And by the choices that I was making, I probably would have been doing the rest of my life in prison, right? And I probably should be right now, right? By all the stuff that I did while I was in prison, or even when I get out of prison, right? I'm not trying to brag or boast or think that I'm some down ass fool or whatever, right? I'm just merely stating the facts, you know what I mean? And when you're caught up in the mix on the street, living that street life or in the neighborhood or in prison, right? there's going to be times where you have to do stuff, right? And that could be life altering. You know what I mean? So for those of you as opportunity to change your life for the better, take it, man. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is have a plan, right? So for me, I knew I wanted to get off drugs. I wanted to be a better son, a better brother, a better uncle, right? So I gave a 12-step fellowship a chance, right? And I took suggestion and I did some things that were uncomfortable, right? Asking for help, taking direction, reading, being in my feelings, making amends for the things that I did. You know what I mean? But all that shaped me to the man I am today, right? I'm far from perfect. I make mistakes on the daily, right? I'm not claiming to be this guy that walks on water, right? But I know I'm a better man than what I used to be, right? I was one of those scandalous dudes that used to help steal your dope and help you look for it, you know, and if you left the purse, it was gone. If you left the wallet, it was gone. And if you left your door open or showed me how to get in your house, I was in it. You know what I mean? And I remember I steal my mom's syringes, right? And she was diabetic. Like I would take like 3 or 4 packs of them. I didn't care how many she had left, right? Just so I can go pick up, you know? So what I mean by that is I'm trying to identify as bottom of the barrel. You know what I mean? And I know by looking at me now all healthy and stuff, right? You're probably thinking like, you don't look like a heroin user, right? But that's the reality of it, right? I was as scandalous as they come, right? And if you would have met me back then, we probably wouldn't be talking right now, right? Or you probably wouldn't be listening to me right now because like it was all bull crap that was coming out of my mouth. You know what I mean? I was just trying to look for any way so I can come up, right? And my mind used to be working like this. Like I was always thinking my next come up, my next hustle, my next fix, my next girl I was trying to be with, my next hotel room, right? It was always hustle, 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 hustle. That was all on my mind, right? Now, the peace of mind I got from working a program and for being clean, right? Like I can lay my head at the pillow at night and just crash out, right? And I have the same routine I've had since I got clean, right? I get up in the morning, make my coffee, go to the patio, spark my cigarette, give 5 to 10 minutes to my higher power, right? And I remember those times being out there strung out, right? I remember being in that cell, right? Cold, nothing to eat, right? During the hunger strikes or like if it's going to crack on the yard, having a fierro hoop, right? Or just not knowing if I was going to make it out, right? I don't forget those times, man, because that's what keeps me humble, right? And then so I give thanks for him for delivering me from that, right? And then I pray for what I need to pray for, whether it's my father's health, my nieces, my nephews, my sisters, anything that I want in my life, right? And then I ask him to guide me in his way, right? uh, have me be more like him, right? Help me be a better person, you know. And if that's your goal every day to be a better person each day, then you're gonna win. Like life happens still, you know what I mean? Like you might get in a car accident, your mom might die, or you might stub your toe, right? But as long as you stay clean and you keep your best foot forward, everything will work itself out, right? I know sometimes our initial thought might be like, you know what, I know it's going to take this thought away or this anxiety, right? Is to use or drink, right? But at the end of the day, the problem's still going to be there, if not worse, if you do that, you know. So that's what it means by contrary action, right? And uh, insanity is doing the same thing, expecting different results, right? So like for me, if I wanted to stay out of prison, right, when I continue to use drugs, continue to be a thief, continue to lie, cheat, and hustle, right, the chances of me staying out of prison are very slim, right? But if I do something different, right, like go to meetings, right? Get a recovery circle around me, right? A network of people that I can call any day or night, right? They don't want anything from me, right? At my men's meeting, right? It's all love, right? People I genuinely care about you. You know what I mean? And in those rooms, like they just want to see you win, right? Because they know where the bottom's at. You know what I mean? And some people have worse stories than others, right? But at the end of the day, the disease doesn't discriminate. You know what I mean? So I just wanted to share with you guys a couple of phrases that saved my life, right? Because when I started focusing on myself, right, and not worrying about what anybody else is doing, right, and actually putting in the work and trying to be a better person, and first of all, just staying clean no matter what. You know what I mean? My life changed immensely, right? I haven't been to prison since I haven't been incarcerated since May 20th of 2015. I haven't done any drugs or alcohol since April 10, 2015. No fronts, but I'm coming up on 11 years clean, right? And if you would have asked me 11 years ago if I would be at where I'm at today, I would have been like, you're crazy as hell, right? I'm a program director at a medical detox, right? I didn't even know what the hell a medical detox was, right? After this semester, if I pass all my classes, I get my associate's degree from Cypress College in Human Services, right? I used to hate school. I couldn't even stand staying in one class. You know what I mean? I'm actually present for my family, for my sisters, for I was able to bury my mom. You know what I mean? I was able to take care of her services. You know, and all this is a direct result of my higher power in the program. You know, and I'm not trying to push the program or God on you guys. You know what I mean? And recovery looks different for everyone. Right? I'm just stating what worked for me. Right? So if you want something different, you got to do different. You know what I mean? And in contrary action, do something different than what you're used to if it's not working out for you. All right? And just know that you're not alone and that change is possible. Redemption. Fools get clean too. What's your comeback story?